Hi and welcome to another quick video by me. Gonna just quickly go over the Joyo PXL Pro again. Gonna have to jump straight into it because I've run out of time so easily. I am going to be using my Mexican Strat, all standard. It's a 2010 or 2000, yeah, I think it's 2012. The only alterations I've made is the pick guard. And yeah, so going into it, the PXL Pro is a looper, where you have various effects loop. You turn the individual loop that you want to use on or off. It is not a looper as in the Ed Sheeran kind of like record a sound and repeat it kind of way. It is a looper as in an effects looper. But yeah, so here we go. To program, if you buy one of these, this is how it'll be when you turn it on out of the box, as in all the lights will be on. But you'll probably be in bank 1A. My bank 1 is already programmed, so this is a blank bank at the minute 7. So just going to go to that, just for ease. So to program, right, we are in mute at the moment. I shall take it out of mute so you can hear things. To mute, you can't hear nothing at the minute anyway because this is all on, and this bank at the minute, loop 1 of loop 2, is inactive. I've got nothing running through it, so the signal at this point hits like a dead end. But yeah, to mute, if you click the mute button once, it goes to tuner out if you've got a tuner, but still noise will come through if you've got a signal path, which at the minute I haven't. And if you click it again, it goes to mute and the pedal. The tuner's still active. But anyway, I have at the moment these 4. This is why it's in a separate box. These 4 have the option of running through a pedal loop, an effects loop of your amp. I use that, which is these 2 here. If you're not using the effects loop, if you just want them all going into the front of the amp, you just use loop 2 out. So yeah, but I, however, use the effects loop, so that is in, out, or yeah, runs through that order. So yeah, to program, hold down mute, E, edit, edit high. Edit high is the highest of the 2 loops, so obviously loop 2. Now this is where it is a little tip, is that if you've got every loop activated, say you had something in here as well, and you had, like me, a few overdrive pedals, it would be ridiculously noisy, because especially like me, if you've got a trigger out operating, your amp channel switching, your amp overdrive would be on because the trigger lights are on. The only trigger light I actually use is 1 because I only use T1. So at this point, my amp overdrive is on, all these pedals are on. The only thing that's stopping it is this loop being inactive, thankfully. If I was to take that loop out, this signal path would be going, you know, out in, out in, out in, out in, bypassing that and in. So this will be what it will sound like. Don't want that. So the quickest way to do it, if you're getting noise instantly, if you've got every loop activated, is either do it with your pedal board muted, which I now can't do because I'm in edit mode, or bank up to edit low, which will be the overdrive section, the sort of the preamp side of it. So quickly turn off your overdrive pedals, then go back to edit high and turn off your effects loop pedals. Now you can hear noise because, yet again, this loop here is not being used at the minute. It will be shortly, there's another pedal coming, but at this point in time, nothing. So yeah, I say turn them all off. You don't have to turn them off. I'm turning them off because I want a blank canvas. Then we go to back through low to ET, edit triggers. I shall turn off the amp distortion. Then we go to EB, which is edit bypass. You can bypass your desired patch. We shall do that, so I'm turning the trigger on. So when in bypass mode for this patch, my amp will be distorted. EN is whether your trigger out is latch or momentary. Mine is latch and it works like this. EP is edit polarity, basically whether the light is on or off when you're switching the amp. Mine works like that. So yet again, I'm not tinkering with it because it can be a little bit annoying to set up. But yet again, we're going down to the fact that this cost me £120 instead of, I'd love a gig rig, what they call a G2, but I just cannot afford one and can't warrant it. I'm shit. And then we're back to EH. So yeah, we shall, just for shits and giggles, whack in some. I'll put in all my delays and reverb. Go to the lows. I shall put in loop 1 is these 3 pedals, but I haven't got this on, so I'm just using the long amp bass player because I love it. And I shall also put on the TC Nova modulator, which is in chorus setting. To save your preset, hold down mute, and there you are. 7A is now stored. Yet again, just for an example, we'll go to patch 7B, which yet again is blank. Hold down mute, edit. Remember, I'm going to jump down to edit low, so I do not want that overwhelming noise of just howling from all the overdrive pedals and amp distortion. Then I'm going to go back to edit high. On this one, I shall just have on the Strymon El Capistan. And then we shall go to edit low. I'll have none of those on. Other than, I shall put the... No, I want none of them. Triggers, I want the amp distortion on, so trigger 1 light is on. I shall turn the others off just so you can see that is the only light on. Edit bypass. Yet again, for example, you can hear me through the pickups. Sorry, I was speaking into the guitar then. It was a bit of a visual gag, which you obviously could not see. Edit bypass, we'll turn that off. So the trigger is turned off in bypass mode. Again, EN and EP are set for my amp, so I will not touch them. And we'll save it. Hold it down to save. So that is that. That's two patches programmed. So this amp, this program, this patch, 7B is trigger is activated, so the amp channel is on, and the Strymon, which is in loop 3. So we can go from 7A in bypass mode. Bypass mode is shown by the fact that all the other lights are flashing. It's just amp distortion. 7A itself is the flashback, the Strymon and the long amp Moonraker reverb through the effects loop, and in the front of the amp, the long amp Bears Blair and the TC Nova modulator. So we'll go through so that is it. And then if you would hit B again, B would be bypassed, all the other lights flashing, and we chose in bypass mode. We're a community. We chose, if you're with me on this, we chose it, for the amp channel not to be activated. So amp channel non-distorted. By the way, I'm using my Blackstar HT Studio 20. And it also worked exactly the same through my Blackstar HT5 when I had that. But yeah, I'm using my Blackstar HT Studio 20 through my Zilla 2x12 cab. So that is clean. Amp distortion with the Strymon. Amp clean, but with the long amp, etc, etc. Now, on to, I don't want to bank up, I want to go to another empty channel, just for an example again. Questions I've been asked. Trigger outs, can I trigger every amp? From what I gather, most amps. My Blackstar runs just a mono cable, like a mono guitar cable, from its existing foot switch into the amp. So all I've had to use is a cheap generic mono guitar cable from trigger 1 into the amp switch input in the back of the amp, and that works absolutely fine. Some amps, if you have one which has switchable reverb and amp channel, they might use a stereo jack, so a tip ring sleeve jack, much like the Strymon in the favourite switch, that uses a tip ring sleeve. You can apparently have the tip ring sleeve jack in the back of your amp as required, but then split that into 2 mono jacks. You could probably buy a stereo to mono, stereo to monos on somewhere like eBay, Amazon, etc. And then use 2 of the trigger outs. I don't know how this works exactly, I haven't tried it yet. I will though, however, for you lucky people, perhaps try it for my Strymon. So I'd then have the ability to, again, at the click of a button, have it going from its favourite mode to its non-favourite mode. Yeah, again, just using Strymon terminology, favourites. The other question I've been asked is about bleed through. So if you've got, say, the flashback, I use that as a in buffered. So the signal carries on after you turn the pedal off. I shall demonstrate. Edit high. The only thing I want... Oh, nearly fell for my own trick then. Turn off the distortion pedals first. Actually, no, not yet, I won't. So we just want to leave on the flashback, which has like an epically long feedback. But then if I was to then change channel, bugger, it will carry on because that loop is activated. Hang on. No, hang on. I've buggered this up myself now. Right, edit high. Turn that off. Right, so we'll save that like that. Go to D. Mute. Edit high. Again, nearly fell into the trap of leaving the distortion pedals on. Back up to that. Turn those off. Right, so all I've got now on this channel is a amp distortion. This is amp distortion and the flashback. It cuts it off. It cuts it off because that loop 2 is now off. There's no signal passing through it for that signal to bleed through. You could, however, if you were just using that, use it as a standard pedal. And just turn it off there. And then carry on playing over it. That's an option. So yes, no. Yes and no. The signal does not bleed through. The other thing I've been asked is about the order of the pedals. The order of the pedals you cannot swap around. You can swap around by switching them around, etc. Physically, but you can't switch them around in that loop 1 goes into loop 2, into loop 3, into loop 4, into loop 5, 6, 7, 8, or 1, 2, 3, 4, the second 4. That is it. You can't swap that around. Anyway, I hope that has helped. I hope you've enjoyed watching. Any comments, feel free to leave them. Thank you. Bye-bye.